Welcome back to our Beatrice YouTube channel. In today's class, we'll be learning how to make this beautiful half blazer, half bustier blouse. So it has this beautiful bustier dress underneath, and then it has one blazer. You can see that the blazer is attached to the bodice, and it's just on one side of the dress. It's a notch collar blazer, and it has this pencil sleeve as well. It's a very beautiful tutorial, as we have seen, and it's beginner friendly. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned till the end of this tutorial. And also, registration is currently ongoing for our online upgrade class. If you're interested, let us know in the comment section so that we can put you through how you can go about your registration. Thank you. Okay, so this dress has a bustier dress underneath, and then it also has a half blazer bodice. So you're going to be starting with the bustier first. I'm just going to stop mine on the waistline area because this is just a tutorial. So if you're making yours, all you just need to do is to make a full dress. So this is an off shoulder dress, so I have gone off by 6 inches. This first line here is my armhole line. This is my bust point, my under bust, and my waistline. And then I went ahead to get my bust span, which is 8 divided by 2, which gave me 4 inches, which is the center line that you see here. So for my dart, on the under bust, I went on both sides by 1 inch, and I did the same thing on the waistline. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to take my curved ruler, and then I'm going to connect from here to my bust point on both sides. Okay, we have been doing this on the channel, so I'm just going to rush through it. So here on the upper part as well, I'm going to be taking a dart of 0.75 on both sides, and then I'm going to connect that as well to my bust point. Okay, so after this, the next thing now is to shape this by taking my circumference measurement. So I'm just trying to get something identical on both sides. Okay, so once I have this, I'm going to connect it as well. So this is what I have now. So this is my dart. So I'm going to shape it. The bust measurement that I'm working with is 40 inches divided by 4 is 10. So what I have here, I'm just going to continue it, and then I'll have my 10 inches here. My waist is 28 divided by 4 is 7. So here I have 3 inches, and I'm going to continue like this, and then I have my 7 inches. So I'll have my 1.5 inches in my allowance to that, and then I'm going to connect it. So for my bust dart here, I'm going to go down by 2 inches, and then I'll connect it to my bust point for my bust dart. So now this is my pattern for the front. So whatever neckline it is that you want to work with, if you want to work with a sweet tight neckline, just know that they have already gone off by 6 inches. So whatever neck you want to work with is fine. So I think I'm just going to make it like a sweet tight neckline, and then I'll connect it like that. So for my neckline, you measure your chest, that's from one armhole area to the other, so that you have an idea of your chest line. For me, that's 12 inches, so divided by 2 is 6. So I have 3.5 inches here. I'll just continue my 3.5 inches, and then I have 6 inches here. So I'll bring in my curved ruler again, and then I'm going to connect for my armhole curve. So this bust that is going to be closed as well. So this is my back, and for my back, this is my chest line and this is my waistline. I already took my 1/2 inch dart on both sides as well. So this is my zipper allowance, and then I measure the 6 inches so that I can get my armhole cuff as well. So for the neckline, it depends on what you want. So I have 6 inches here already, so I can make it like my neckline, my chest line length, and then from there I'm going to take my curved ruler and then connect that to my armhole. So you can work with whatever neck measurement that you want. So that is what I'm going to be working with, and now I'll cut out this pattern. So the major focus is going to be on the blazer, because we have been doing this on the channel a lot already. So I'm just going to, so here I'm going to open one of these darts so that I can easily close my bust dart. After opening this now, I'm going to close this bust dart and then hold this down with my tape. So now I can easily cut the sides. So I'll go ahead and cut it on my fabric. I'm going to be using a plain fabric for the bustier, and then I'm using a pattern fabric for the blazer. So I'll go ahead and cut all of this on my fabric, and then I'll bring it back to show us. So the next thing we're going to be doing now is working on our blazer. Okay, so for the blazer, this is my pattern. I have my basic bodies already, but for the front is going to have a lapel. So I have 2 inches allowance for that before I drafted my basic body. So this is my armhole line, this is my bust point, my waistline, and my hip line. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop mine on the hip line, but if you want it full, the next measurements you're going to need is your full length. And again, on my waistline, I took a dart of 1/2 inch on both sides, and then I connected that 1 inch below my bust point, and then 2 inches above my hip line, just like we normally take our dart. So for the neckline, I'm working with a neckline of 2.75 by 3 inches for the front, and then for the back I'm going to work with a neckline of 2.75 by 1 inch, just our normal neckline. So this is a blazer, and like I said, it has a lapel. So from my 2 inches, the first allowance I'm going to be taking is 1 inch for my button allowance. So it's going to serve like a button placket. So from the center front here, I'm measuring 1 inch, and I'm going to make that into a straight line using my straight ruler. Okay, so I have it measured like this, and then I'm going to connect it all the way to the hem. So now the next thing I'm going to locate here is my breaking point. That's where I want my lapel to stop. So for me, I want my breaking point to be around my underbust area. So for me, the underbust is 14 inches. So I'm going to mark the 14 inches right there. So after marking my 14 inches, I'm going to connect from this 14 inches mark all the way to my neck point here. Okay, in a diagonal form like this. Okay, so you can see I have connected it. So now after connecting it, I'm going to be using another color of marker so that we can see it well. Okay, so I have this red marker. I'm just going to redraw this. So okay, so after connecting like this, the next thing now is to create my lapel. So now from my neckline here, I'm going to be measuring 2 inches, which is why I have 2 inches. Okay, so that's why I left 2 inches allowance. So what I'm just going to do now is to extend this neckline that I have here by the 2 inches, and then I'm going to use my curved ruler to shape it to the breaking point. So you can see the way I am curving it. So you can create any style you want for this, but this is the style that I'm working with, and this is my lapel. Okay, so you're going to fold it this way. So after creating this now, the next thing I'm going to do is to connect this. So you can work with a shoulder dart. If you want to be working with a shoulder dart, all you just need to do is to measure what you have here, divide it by 2, and then on that point you are going to connect it to your bust point. But I think I'm just going to take this to my armhole, so I'm just going to measure what I have on my armhole as well. I have about 10 inches, so I'll mark half of that, which is 5, and then I'm going to use my curved ruler to smoothly connect that to form a armhole princess dart. Okay, so this is what I have, I can see. So now this 4 inches center that line. I'm going to take it all the way to the hem as well, because I'm going to slash that completely so that I can use it to cut out my facing. Okay, so now this is taken care of. We'll continue with our lapel. Okay, so to complete my lapel, I'm just going to cut this front part off so that we'll have something smaller to work with. So now I've cut out this side. I'm going to cut the armhole area as well. So now this is my front. So now the next thing now is to cut out this excess allowance as well, so that I'll be left with only my lapel. Okay, so this is the breaking point. I'm just going to cut out this shape that I created. I'll leave the neckline because I still need it, and then my dart line as well. I'm going to cut out the dart. So here, remember we took a dart of half an inch on both sides, so I'm just going to cut that. Okay, so this is my center front. For my side front, I just need to cut out this dart as well. Okay, so this is what I have. Okay, so you can see that my dart is taken care of. So I'm going to set this aside first, and then I'm going to work on the center front. Okay, so I have chopped off the shoulder slant as well. So now to create my other lapel, remember it's a notched collar lapel, I'm just placing this paper underneath it so that I can have extra allowance. So I have taped it down. The next thing now, for my notched collar, I'm going to come up here by 1 inch on this side. So I'm going to mark 1 inch, or depending on how you want your collar to sit. So now I'm going to connect from this neck point. Remember, this is my actual center front. The 1 inch here is for the button allowance. So I'm going to connect diagonally like this so that I can have my notched collar. So you can either step this up or down, but I'm just going to leave it like this and see what I have. So here on my neckline, on my shoulder point, I'm going to mark the same 2 inches that I'm marking there. I'm just marking it diagonally like this as well, and then I'm going to connect these two together. Okay, so this lapel does not go through the back neckline, so that's why I am stopping it here. So now after stopping it here, the next thing is to cut this out. I hope you get that. So now I'm going to cut out this shape. So when I'm cutting this upper part here, what I'm going to do is to first fold my lapel. So here I'm going to be cutting the notched part of my lapel as well. So if you're not okay with this notched part, okay, so after opening the notched part of your collar, if you're not okay with it, you can change it at this point. So now to cut the shoulder part, what I'm going to do now is to fold my lapel. So you can see this line that we have here. I'm just going to mirror the line now, and then I'm going to fold this up to my breaking point. So when I fold it, this is what I have, and this is what my lapel is going to look like as well. So if you're not okay with it, like I said, at this point you can change it. So now I'm going to redraw my shoulder line together with this new lapel that I have. So this is my shoulder. I can still see it here. So this is what my shoulder line looks like. Now I can cut this out. So here you can see that my lapel here is just around 2 inches. So if you want it to match up with what you have on your shoulder, all you just need to do is to increase the length from maybe 2 inches to 4 inches. Just work with what you want. So now this is what my front shape looks like now. So now we're going to move straight to the back of the blazer. So for the back of the blazer, I already drafted my bodies as well. This is my armhole line, this is my waistline, and this is the hip line, and that is the full length. So here is my zipper allowance, because a zipper is going to run through this, and this is my neckline. So what I'm going to do at the back now is just to modify my neckline, because I'm running a zipper on this and also on my bustier. I want their neckline to be on the same point, so I'm going to stop the neckline on the chest line area as well. Remember, when I was drafting the bustier, my neckline stopped at the chest line area. So here I'm going to redraw my neckline for the back, and this is what my new back neckline looks like. So if you want your lapel to continue to the back, so for the back you're just going to cut it in form of a cape, just like you're cutting a facing. But for me, I don't want any lapel at the back, so now I'm okay with my back panel. The next thing is for me to cut this out. Also, if you want to have two separate pieces, you just need to connect your dart to your shoulder or to your handle, and then you extend it. But for this one, I'm just going to cut a facing for it, and you can also line it fully. So I'm just leaving it as it is, because I'm going to be inserting a zipper here, so I don't need this part to be really clean. Once I insert the zipper, it's not going to be exposing my zipper area. The zipper is just going to make it go in on its own, so you can actually line this fully if you want to, or you can just cut a facing just like I am doing. Sorry, I'm cutting my zipper allowance. So this is what the back look like now. I'm going to cut out the new neckline that I have on the back as well. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut out all of this pattern now on my fabric. So this is the front, this is the back for my blazer, this is the center front for the blazer, this is the side front for the blazer. I'm going to be cutting this using this patterned fabric. And for my bustier, this is my back, and this is the center front and the side front. So I'm going to be cutting this using my plain black fabric, or any fabric you want to work with. So I have gone ahead to cut this on my fabric, and you can see that I added half an inch all round as my seam allowance. So for the center front, I cut out one piece of my main bodies, and then I cut another piece that is going to act as my safing. That's my facing. That's going to be my lining. So what I'm going to do now is to go ahead to sew it on the neckline area and the center front. Then I'm going to turn it out. So that's for my center front. For the side front, I cut out just one piece. I'm not going to be adding lining to this, so if you want to line it, you just cut out one piece for your main bodies. Remember, it's just half blazer, so we don't have for the other side. So I cut out one piece of the main bodies, and then I'm not using lining for this. So if you're lining it, you cut one piece for your lining as well. So for the back, I cut out one single piece. Remember, I did not slash it open, so I cut out one single piece for my back, and then I went ahead to cut out a facing as well. So it's just like a half bodice that I'm going to use to turn the neckline. So I'm going to use this facing to turn the neckline, and I'm going to turn it out and bring it back to show us. So now for my lower part, which is the bustier, this is my two center, this is my two back. So for the back, I've notched where my dart is, so I'm going to take my dart here, and then these are the pieces for the front. So for the front, I'm going to sew my center front to my side front. So this is just a tutorial, so I'm not going to be fixing lining. So but if you are to be doing this on your actual dress, you cut out another piece that is going to serve as your lining, and then you sew them the exact same way so that you can use them to turn out each other. So I'll go ahead now and join all of them and bring it back to show us what I have. Okay, so I have sewn it. This is the front part of the bustier. So if you're to be making this, remember it's a dress, so you need to join the lower part, which is the skirt, to the half length so that you can have a complete dress. And this is the Okay, so for the bustier part, you can actually make it in form of a tube. Okay, remember this has a sleeve. If you don't want the sleeves to go through your, so you just reduce it so that you're not going to be having any armhole here, and you just blend everything together so that you can have like a tube top. So this is what I'm saying. So now I'm just going to blend this in so that I'll have something like this. So you can see that this way these bodies no longer have a tube. So another thing I'm going to do now is to reduce this armhole line by half an inch. You understand why I'm reducing it? The blazer part is going to have a sleeve, and the sleeve is not going to be included in my bust here, so I'm going to leave in half an inch so that I can add that sleeve. So I'm just going to come down by half an inch here, and then I'm going to blend it with my neckline again. Okay, so the same thing I have done here, I'm going to do to the back part. So this is what I have on the front, and then I'm going to bring in the back as well and blend everything in. So I'm going to reduce the armhole by half an inch and also remove the armhole line so that this can be a tube. So what this means is that my center back is just going to, remember the armhole is on the neckline stops on the armhole line, so I'm just going to run it straight like this, and here I'm going to reduce it by half an inch. So now on the side that I am going to add my bustier, my blazer, the blazer is going to be on the right side for me, which is this side. I'm not going to fix the back yet, but for the other side, which is the left side, I'm going to fix my back panel because I'm not going to be putting any blazer here. So you can see me placing my back against my front on the left side. That's the side without the blazer, and then I'll go ahead and sew it. So the back part for the right side, I'm going to keep it aside, and then for the blazer as well, I have sewn the facing of the center front together with it. So I'm just going to notch it and turn it out, and then I'm going to go and iron it. So you can iron and interfacing on the lapel area so that it can lie really well for you. I'm just leaving mine like this, and this is the back as well. I have used my facing to turn the neckline, so I just sew it the neckline, and then I'm going to flip it and then iron it as well. So after ironing it, this is what the back looks like, and for the front, so after ironing it, I'm going to bring in the other side of my front. Remember the front was slashed into two, so I'm going to bring the other side of the front, and then I'm going to sew them together. So I'll do all of this now, and then I'll bring it back to show us what we have. Okay, so this is the center front. I have turned it, and then I went ahead to iron it. So I just flipped my lapel as well, and then I ironed it. So your breaking points, you can notch that part so that you know where the lapel stops. So what I'm going to do now is to bring in my side front, and then I'm going to sew them together like this. Okay, so the princess dart line has been sewn, and this is what I have. So here you're just going to turn it, and then you iron down your seam allowance, or you can also serge the rough edges. Remember, it's not a full lining, but assuming it was fully lined, we would have sewn the lining separately and then the main fabric separately, and then we can turn everything together all at once. So this is what the side front is looking like, and this is the lapel, and this is the back. Okay, so this is the back, and this is the lapel, and this is the neckline for the back. So like I said, if you want it to have a lapel, you just need to cut out like a facing so that it can flip over on the back as well. But I don't want my back to have a lapel, so this is what I have for the back. And then for the bustier, I've gone ahead to join the back to the front on the side without the lapel. So this is the side with the lapel, so this is my front and this is my back, still separate. So to join them together now, on the side I'm going to put my lapel, I'm going to bring in the center front, the front part of my lapel against the front of my bustier. Remember, if you are to be doing yours, it's going to be a full bodice. Okay, so I'll just bring it together like this, and then you must have turned your neckline, the neckline of your bustier neatly with your lining before you place this. So now after turning it, I'm just going to bring it in. So if you are turning yours, by the time you turn it with half an inch, it will normally reduce the armhole area. Remember, I had to cut off half an inch from mine because I was not turning it. So by the time you turn it out with half an inch, that half an inch seam allowance would have reduced the armhole for you so that you can fix your sleeve easily. So now to place it now, I'm just going to match the side together, and then this is going to be half an inch more. Remember, I've already chopped it off, and then I'm going to match the side seam like this. Okay, so after matching it, you can hold this down with a pin. So I have held it with a pin. Now you can see that this is my bustier underneath it, and this is my blazer. So this part is done. For the back, I'm going to bring in my blazer on the back as well, and then I'm going to lay it just like this. So this is my bustier. I'm going to lay my bustier on it. Remember, I use the same neckline, so your zipper allowance must match with each other. So remember, we added zipper allowance for the pattern of the blazer as well, and then this is the side, so I make sure it's half an inch shorter. So this is why you need to make sure that you use the same measurement so that you can have all of them matching by the time you want to sew them together. So I'm going to pin this as well. Okay, I'm going to pin it as well, and then I'm going to flip this now and then sew my side seam. So now to sew your side seam, you can first turn your shoulder. So to turn the shoulder, you're going to fold your lapel over like this. You can see that the shoulder matches each other. So after folding your lapel over, what I'm going to do now is to place it against each other like this. Okay, so shoulder matching each other, and then I'm going to bring in the back and then flip it over. So after flipping it over like this, I'm going to sew it and turn just like we turn our shoulder normally so that it can be neat. I'm going to flip it and turn, and then after turning the shoulder, what I'm going to do now is to place the side also on each other. So this is the side for the back, and this is the side for the front as well, and then I'm going to sew it on the side seam. So after sewing it on the side seam, you will see that all your seam allowances now are inside. I hope you understand that. What I did was to remove the back of the part that is going to have a lapel, and that is what I have matched, the back that is going to have a blazer. So I matched that back with the back of my blazer, and then for the front as well, I matched. You can see that I have sewn the front side of the other part to the back. So for this other part, I placed my front blazer on the front of my bustier as well. So now what I'm going to do now is to place them right side facing right side. That's my bustier together with my blazer on both sides, and then now I can sew it on the side. And also I'm going to flip the lapel like this and then turn the shoulder by joining the front and back together. So I'll do this now, and then I'll bring it back to show us what it looks like. Okay, so the shoulder is turned now. You can see that it is neatly turned, and then I have also joined the side seam together. So this is my bustier, this is my blazer for the back, this is the blazer for the front, and this is the bustier for the front. So I just sew it all the way down. Remember, mine is just the half bodice because this is the lining. In your own case, you're going to have a full dress which is just going to be shorter by maybe 4 inches from the blazer, and if you want it to be on the same line, you just make it on the same line. So please remember that when I'm placing this on the mannequin, I'm just going to wrap something on the mannequin so that it can complete my inner dress for me. So this is it. I've sewed it, and then on the center fold, I just held my bustier and my blazer together on the zipper allowance area. So I just use the stitch to hold this down there so that it can just stay together for me. Okay, so to make it easy, I'm just going to bring in the zipper allowance. Remember, this is the back of the side without the blazer. So I'm going to bring the zipper allowance together with the side with the blazer and hold it with a pin because I don't want it to start flying around. So I'm going to hold it down so you know that your zipper is going to run through this center back. So assuming it was a full out width on this part you're still going to have the excess to make up for a dress on your bustier. So that's why you're going to pin the rest of this bustier too, so that you can fix your zipper. And then you're going to hem your blazer on the lower part. Remember, we did not fix a full lining. So now by the time I turn this out now, this is what you're going to have. So you can see the side of our blazer that it is clean. So this is the part of the blazer, you just arrange it well, and this is the other side without the blazer, which carries our bustier. So this is what I have now. Okay, so this is what I have. So you can fix a button illusion here just to decorate it. So now to hold it together with my blazer, I'm just going to flip it here, somewhere here, and then tack it to my bustier so that it can just stay in place for me. And this is what it looks like on the back. Our zipper is just going to run through all of this place. Okay, so the last thing to do now is to just cut out my sleeve and fix it to the armhole area. So I'm going to be using this fabric to cut out the sleeve, and then remember that I already left half an inch. I cut it off from the bustier so that the sleeve is just going to be on the blazer part. So I'll go ahead now and cut my sleeve, and then I'm going to take it to the mannequin. So here, to complete my own inner dress, I'm just going to wrap the fabric around the mannequin. Okay, but if you're doing yours, remember to add your skirt part so that you have a complete dress. Then it's just going to be short by 4 inches from the blazer, or if you want it to be on the same length, just make it the same length. It's totally up to you. So I'll go ahead now and tack this part and then fix my armhole, my sleeve. I don't want this video to be too long. Okay, so the sleeve is fixed now. You can see my sleeve, and my body is just half an inch shorter so that I can sew my sleeve around it. So that's the allowance for the sleeve. So if you want your body to also have the sleeve, what you just need to do is to leave your armhole area so that you have your armhole maybe up to like the 5 inches. Remember, we measured down by 5 inches to connect our armhole. So you can leave you by sorry, remember there is no armhole on the bustier part because I chopped it off. So if you want yours to have an armhole, so it will just connect like this up to wherever it is that your off shoulder stops, and then you sew it with your dress. But mine is just a tube, so it is detached completely from my armhole. So now I'll turn this to the right side so that we can see what it looks like. So you can also add a shoulder pad to the shoulder of the sleeve if you want, but I'm not going to add any shoulder pad to mine. So this is my bustier, this is the blazer together with the sleeve now, and this is the inner dress that we are going to have. So here our zipper is just going to run like that on the back part. So this is the inner dress that we're supposed to have, and this is the blazer on it. So here you're just going to tack it just like I explained. So I will just hold this part with a pin now, and then I'll take it to the mannequin so that we can see what this looks like. Okay, so we are on the mannequin now, and like I said, I just wrapped this around it. This is my bustier, and this is the underneath. So you can see that this blazer part is sewn. You can see that it is sewn to the bustier now. So you are just going to flip it like this and arrange it well, so you can see how it looks like. So here I'm just going to flip this over and tack it somewhere if that is what you want, or you can leave it flying like this if that is what you want as well. So for the length of the dress, you just make it like 4 inches shorter than the blazer, or you just make it equal to the blazer if that is what you want as well. So this is the sleeve, and this is the notched part of our collar. You can see how beautiful this is looking and how simple it is to make it. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one. And also, our upgrade online class is currently ongoing, so if you're interested, let us know in the comment section, and we'll put you through how you can register for the class. Bye.